In the meantime, I'm very pleased to say that we're moving on to our next slot, which is from the IET. So this is Darren wearing one of his other hats, I guess, as a leading light in the IET with Martin Davies. So not sure which of you two guys is going to go first, but whichever it is, the virtual microphone is yours.
Hi, Steve. That's me. That's Darren. I think I'm leading off with this one, so I'm just going to give a little bit of background before Martin starts a quick demonstration, a quick run through some of the work we've been doing, which does require a screen share. So let's all cross our fingers and hope that works okay. So this is addressing something that I think we all anecdotally know is a problem, which is about skills in CITS, and this is about addressing skills around new entrants, but also skills around people who already work in traditional areas of traffic technology, and about starting to prepare people for the types of challenges that are going to be coming at all levels, at a writing policy level, at a local authority management level, down to starting to think about issues at a installer level. How do you configure and install equipment? So what we've known for a while is that we need to start to get people trained in this area. Now we know this generally for engineering. One of the things the IET does every year is a skills survey, which has been the same for years, that the level of the number of people with the right skills to support the amount of engineering and technology that happens in this country is insufficient. We need more of them. That's particularly true in some sectors, and I would venture that traffic engineering, especially road traffic engineering, is one of those sectors where there is a real skills shortage. One of the things we started to do a few years ago to address this was we joined a European project called EU Capital. That's a project that was led by ERTICO, the European ITS organisation, and that used EU money to investigate what skills are needed and then build a platform to start to deliver that training. And we were a partner in that as the Department for Transport, and the IET a sub-partner in that as well. That was quite successful, and that has led to the launch of an ERTICO European ITS training platform. Now that's very good, but it's not particularly useful, I would argue, for the UK, in that it's very much focused on the countries in Europe that start from a much lower base in terms of installed technology and technology capability than maybe we do in the UK. So that's very good for bringing up low levels of previous experience to start to think about CITS, and it maybe doesn't play as well with the UK for a number of reasons. I think our basic skill sets are higher. We have a lot more technology on street than many countries do. We have a much better understanding, I think, than many countries of complex technology and systems engineering type issues. So I think we're better placed in that area. And I think we also have a different way of training people in the UK. And I think in the UK we are much more focused around training, around people getting training that accounts to something, and training that leads toward qualifications. You know, we award in corporate and charterships around continuing professional development. So it's more important, I think, in the UK that the training that we give is both focused on the type of people we have and the type of training we need in the UK, and the kind of general landscape of how we train people and how we accredit people. The IET, for those of you that don't know, is Europe and probably one of the world's largest professional engineering institutions, and that means it has members who work in technology and engineering. It has about 170,000 of us. I'm actually a fellow of the IET, and I lead one of its policy panels. But the IET's focus is around its members. It's around training its members. It's around supporting its members. It's around generating and developing engineering theory and policy. It's around supporting the inclusion of engineering in wider national debates. It's very much about doing all the things that a professional organisation does. And one of the key things engineering does is train and accredit people to be able to take their professional examinations. And to support all those functions, the IET has an academy, as the IET Academy, which provides online training. Now, any of you that have ever tried online training will know that simply recording YouTube clips and sticking them up on YouTube is not the way to do training. It doesn't work for either the trainer, because you really don't know what people are picking up on, how they're learning. It doesn't work for the training either, because it's hard to concentrate. You don't really know where you are. It's hard to understand your progress. It's very hard to mark and assess results and accredit people on that basis. It's really not the way to do it. It's a lot more complex than that. online training requires a lot more interactivity, the way the courses are designed and run and monitored, and the way that people log onto them and use them is very complex, and it'd be very difficult for us to build some CITS training and build that whole academy around it. The benefit of working with the IET is that they have that already. They have that platform that does that already. So all we need to do is concentrate on the CITS training and the IET Academy. And as Martin will tell, Martin has been deeply involved in the IET Academy since its inception. That side of it deals with all the concern about people logging on and paying for training and being accredited and all that kind of thing. So it's a really useful combination in that the IET is able to support its members, provide the training. We as the TTF understand, I think, what type of training we need in this sector, what type of skills we need to deliver the things we've heard about this morning. And so we have this platform now developing. Now we're currently looking at developing an initial 10 modules to start to get people thinking about CITS. That may expand, but we'll need to see how that goes. We need to see what the appetite is. But at the end of this afternoon is to really hand over to Martin to just do a bit of a dry run of some of the mock-ups, the sort of draft training modules that we've started to produce. And what we really want from this is a feel from people as to whether this feels right, whether we need to do more, or whether it feels wrong, or whether we need to change it. What do you think about this? As people in the industry, what do you think about the training offering that we're proposing? And in the new year, we will be starting to focus group this a bit more. We'll be starting to think about peer group assessment to show that this really is the right type of thing that we're doing. And then later in the year, we sort of towards the middle of the year, we'll be launching this as the IET Academy for CITS training. So on that basis, Martin, do you want to take over and give us a run through where we are to date?
Sure. Thanks very much, Darren, and thanks everybody for inviting me along. So I am now going to try and do a screen share. It worked this morning. Let me have a look. Okay, can everybody see that? Darren, can you see that? Yep. Okay, great.
Yes, yep, that works.
Fantastic. As Darren mentioned, one of the key drivers for the IET is education and training and supporting our members and non-members, to be fair, in the engineering community. And so back in 2018, we launched the IET Academy, and it's a very simple URL, academy.theiet.org. And we have, since 2018, developed over 50 courses, delivering over 500 hours of learning materials. And we've actually delivered out into 60,000 hours of learning in total into the market. So engineers have engaged with 60,000 hours worth of learning since we launched in 2018. We cover courses in all of our core areas. And individuals can come in and purchase individual courses, individual hours of learning. We work with corporates, SMEs, academic institutions to deliver training opportunities into those organisations. And we also work with government departments as well, both to deliver and develop training, as with this, which I'll talk about this afternoon, but also different kinds of training into government organisations as well. So this is the welcome screen that every learner on the Academy sees, and this is the desktop view. But as we know, for the engineering and technology community, you're not always sat at your desk. So we also have a dedicated mobile application as well, so that the content can be accessed and utilised for learning purposes, both on mobile phones and tablets. And everything syncs together. So if you've done some learning on your mobile and you come onto your desktop, that automatically syncs. And so you're not wondering what you've done where and how and when. So it does all sync together. Very, very simple interface. So these are the courses that I've been recently registered to. EV charging equipment installation course here. An ethics course from the University of Leeds, and then what we'll talk about today, an introduction to ITS. What's really nice as well is that immediately on this dashboard you can actually see the progress that you're making on each course. Obviously I've been doing more ethics than I have on EV charging or ITS. But again, so we just basically click into the course, and what you'll see then is really the course broken down into its different modules. And what we've done at the IET, we've taken the base Ertico content that Darren mentioned earlier, and we've redeveloped it. It was very much a passive learning experience, very much video based. Press play, go away, make a cup of tea, come back again, you know, and it's still rolling. But what we've done here is we've made the content interactive. We've split it down into 5 to 6 minute activities. We've split again down into modules. Each part usually builds into an hour, and each hour on the Academy is actually given an hour's worth of CPD from the IET. So all of the content that we have is IET CPD accredited. So you can actually use that for your CPD portfolio. You can actually use that to log against any objectives for your professional registration. So really, it's very much gauged at ensuring that engineers do get the relevant CPD points that they need. All of the learning is self-directed, and what do I mean by that? Essentially, it's not a classroom-based activity, so there isn't a lecturer sitting there on a Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock and you will have to log in. This is very much self-directed. You can do it in your own time, at your own pace. However, what we can do, and what we have done for a number of our corporate customers, is we have created classroom environments where people can actually chat about the learning with each other. So this classroom has 10 people in it. You can actually have a facilitator in there who's asking questions, who's answering questions. So as well as the content that we have built, you can actually upload your own content. So if there's anything specific to your organisation with regards to this course that you want people to know about, you can actually upload that. And you can upload all sorts of different files to support the learning journey for your individual organisation. And that's quite unique to this platform. So what we've done is we've actually taken, as I said, the Ertico content, and we've started to build it out and make it much more interactive in the way that we represent the content. So what I'll just do is quickly just show you one of the modules that we've been working on with Darren and his colleagues. So if I just make this large screen, can everybody see the large screen? Darren, can you see the large screen? Yep,
that was good.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry, so I just should say that the last time we did this, the voiceover didn't actually come through. So I just wanted to let you know, in case it doesn't come through, every single screen is voiced over. So as well as being able to read material on the screen, there is a voiceover. Transcripts of that voiceover are also available upon request. And we try and make the content as visual as possible. So what we're trying to do there is appeal to a wide range of learning styles, so that we're not just saying, well, this is good for me, sorry if it isn't good for you. We're trying to really embrace all sorts of learning styles with what we do. So I'll go through, and I do apologise if the sound doesn't come through, but everything is voiced over. So basically what we're trying to do here is, as well as the voiceover, which will give you the rubric to actually click on the highlighted zones, we're trying to get you to engage with content. So it's nothing spectacular in terms of this engagement, but what we're saying is that you actually have to be physical within the learning environment. And what we've also done is you can't just skip to the final assessment and run through that and get 80% on your final assessment. We're also asking you to actually engage with 80% of the content. So in order to pass any IET Academy course, you have to engage with 80% of the content, as well as getting a good pass mark on the final assessment. So as we go through checklists, explanations, going through zones, hot zones, just really some really interactive e-learning that we want you to engage with here. So we've taken that very flat content and we've developed it out. So at the end of every single module, there is some assessment to check understanding and learning. And if you get questions wrong, you move through, but you can also move back as well to actually go back and revisit the content to check your understanding of that content. So what we've tried to do is we've tried to actually make the learning experience as similar as possible as you go through. So obviously concepts build, concepts get more difficult, but we've tried to make the way that we deliver and develop the content in exactly the same way. Each major module at the end comes with its own summative assessment. So usually 10 multiple choice questions which cover each part. And it's at this point that you would get a certificate of completion from the IET that you can use in your portfolio to say, yes, I've actually got my CPD points, but also I've got a certificate of completion to prove that I've done that. And that can be uploaded if you're a member of the IET to Career Manager, which is our CPD tracking system, or it can be uploaded to any other professional institutions CPD tracker as well to prove actually that you've done a relevant CPD. So we've got 9 modules in total, 9 parts rather in total. And what we will also be doing is we will provide a final summative assessment for the whole course to check understanding and knowledge of the whole course and not just the individual parts. Now, of course, what we're not saying is that everybody needs to go through all of the single parts of the course. You can actually learn the individual parts that are relevant to you. And we see a lot of our users on the Academy platform in general absolutely doing that, pick and choosing the parts that they require from each course and not necessarily having to complete the whole course. So we're trying to make learning as flexible as possible. We're trying to make it as engaging as possible. And we're trying to say to you, look, you know, if you've got 5 minutes in the day, you can come onto this platform and do a module, job done, and that module will build to a part, and those parts will then build to a course. So we really have thought, you know, about professionals and how they learn, and really how to engage with them using this platform. And that's it from me, I think, on that one. Unless you want me to pick up on anything else, Darren?
Thank you. No, thank you, Martin. I think that's really useful, and I think it's important to say, of course, that trying to use an online training tool out through a screen share via Teams it's never going to look as good as it could. But I think that definitely demonstrates what we're doing. I think that was great. So thank you for that. And I say sorry we couldn't hear the sound, but I know we've had that problem with Teams before. So that's really where we are with this. This is something that's developing, and we will be able to start revealing the course material in more detail early in the new year. But something I'm quite excited about. It's something that I think the TTF and DfT we should have been doing a long while ago. I think it's important that we do this. Just a couple of final points before we finish this session. In terms of payment for this, the plan is that DfT will fund access to this training for the public sector. So through the TTF, it will be available to engineers and others working in local authorities and other elements of the public sector. I think ultimately we hope this training is of use to the private sector, and I think we would hope that the private sector is able to pay to access it at a reasonable rate, but that would then help us support the training and develop it and add new sections to it. So that would be good. I think it's also worth saying that through my work at DfT and through my work with the IET and IET and some others, I am working now to understand how this fits into other training. We have to be aware that this isn't the only training available. There are other training sources, but it's about how it all fits together. So I think the Ertico training, as I said, in large part may not be that applicable to engineers in the UK, but the Ertico training does some very interesting things around high-level concepts such as sustainable urban mobility plans. That's something that will be useful to us. And I've been speaking to Ertico about how we link the way that they train and the way that we train together, so we both complement each other. Similarly, I'm aware that the IET does some very, very good training accreditation packages for technicians and engineers, and they're very important in actually accrediting people to go out on street and repair stuff. Again, I don't see us getting into that very detailed accrediting technician type role, but I think there's a joining up to do to make sure that the training that we offer through this and the training that the IET continue to offer to technicians and practitioners align and complement each other. And I think the last thing I want to say is that anybody that was at the last but one physical TTF forum we had back in Leeds will have seen a preview of some initial training packages that we prepared with ARUP around ITS skills that were never released, and we never got those to a stage. We never cracked the nut that we've just been talking about making them suitably interactive and useful in terms of training packages. I think the aim now is that we will incorporate those into this work we're doing with the IET Academy, and those packages, which I think were very useful, but were very hard to get mature enough to release. I think you'll now see them come out through this platform. So I think, Steve, that's it for that. Thank you, Martin, for demonstrating that. Please get in touch, send us your feedback. We'll be organising some more formal feedback after Christmas to ensure that we tailor this correctly for the needs of the community. So thank you.
So just before we move on to the Connected and Automated Mobility Roadmap, Darren, I guess I should ask the same question here as I'm asking everyone this afternoon, whether and to what extent the training is being put through genuine road tests by people who haven't been involved in the development of it, but do need to develop the expertise and develop the CPD that it offers. Has that happened? Is that about to happen?
It's about to happen, Steve. I think today we've lifted one corner of the curtain and let you have a peek inside. I think after Christmas we will be doing the big unveil, and we will be asking for people to do two things. As you say, we want people not involved in it to help road test it. We also want to form a group of experienced practitioners, because it's important that we peer review this. It's important that this is yes. Right. So as Martin and I have discussed, we want a peer review panel, which is something else we'll be looking to put together early in the new year.
Yeah, and to ensure CPD accreditation at the IET, all of our content needs to be blind peer reviewed. So absolutely good question, Steve. Thanks.
Yeah. One more from me before we go on to the next thing, and that is, as someone who I'm a fellow of two professional institutions and work with you at the IET as well. Is there a forum somewhere where the institutions with an interest, say in the areas that we're talking about here, get together and just have a think about not reinventing the wheel, but making sure that enough training material is out there, but you aren't all producing the same thing, but where another institute is producing something useful, you might be able to open a door to it. Does that sort of conversation happen, Darren?
It does to a degree. The Royal Academy of Engineering does do some work around that. We don't, as professional institutions, we don't speak to each other as much as we should, I don't think, but that's something we need to address. We are a little bit not adversarial, but you can imagine. The IET does a lot of work on this itself. We actually have in the same way that we have a transport policy panel that you and I, Steve, sit on that thinks about transport. We actually have a skills panel as well, which brings together the IET's understanding of skills training across every sector. So everything from highways to automotive to nuclear power to everything we do can be brought together with a skills panel. So I think we have that potential, but I don't know about you, Martin, but I'm not aware of any kind of standing group that meets regularly to align across.
There's no standing group. I meet with my colleagues from the other professional engineering institutions regularly, and in terms of collaboration, the Royal Aeronautical Society, for instance, instead, as you mentioned, Steve, instead of reinventing the wheel, have taken 5 of our academy courses as part of their new academy program that they're delivering, and so we talk on an informal basis, on a regular basis, to ensure that you're absolutely right, that we're not reinventing wheels left, right and centre.
Well, my suspicion is that you can achieve a lot through those informal contacts, and very often they're slightly more likely to happen than set-piece meetings. So I'm reassured. So I'm pleased to hear that, and it looks like a very good product to me. I don't think I'd be a very good crash test dummy for going through it, but in terms of the way that you thought about how it comes across, thought about that, we just need to get that voiceover coming through. So with no more ado, plenty of interesting material there. If you're one of the audience for this webinar and you've got thoughts on that and you want to get in touch, then it's really easy to get in touch with Darren and colleagues at the IET. It's easy to get in touch via the TTF website where we put any number of contacts.